Extreme Wordle results revealed. Was it easy or brutal? Is Extreme Wordle the game a walk in the park or is it a real nightmare? The answer, at least for me, lies somewhere in between. Let me explain. Extreme Wordle is a set of 25 words, most of which have at least two letters as hints. Two, okay? It appeared in the New York Times Magazine section in late August. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, was actually to try and guess the Wordle solution in one round. That's it, one round. And by the way, you'll have a chance to try your hand at Extreme Wordle as I share a few examples as we go through this and give you a chance to stop the video and try your hand before we reveal the results. Hey guys, I'm Mary Schaefer, founder of AP Now and the author of Wordle, the rules, the strategies, and expert tips. Today I'm going to share my experiences with Extreme Wordle. So far, to the best of my knowledge, it has appeared only once in the New York Times Magazine section, although I was intrigued to say the least, and I hope it'll appear again in the future. Playing Extreme Wordle will definitely improve your regular Wordle game, so I hope that they run it again in the future. So let me share a few of the challenges and the answers. Now, you should feel free to stop the recording and try and guess the answer before I reveal the results. Here are the instructions per the New York Times, and I'm quoting exactly. In Extreme Wordle, a single word, that's right, a single word, is sufficient to clue one and only one very common English word. No answers are plural or verbs formed by adding an S. So let's get started, and I'm going to start now with the one that I guessed, that I got right first, okay? So, yeah, yes, I'm bragging a little. Okay, so my first success. So I was presented, as was everybody else who got the New York Times Magazine section, not just me, with the word ought, A-U-G-H-T. The G and the H were in gold or orange. I think that's orange, not gold, but whatever, I digress. And the T is in green. So we know from this that the answer must have a T in it, and the T is in the last position. We probably need a vowel, okay? And that vowel is probably going to be E, I, or O. We also know that the G and the H can't be in the third or fourth position. Now, if you're going to try and solve this yourself, you might want to stop the video here before I go through the rest of my reasoning and how I solve it. So let's say that you take that G and the H and you put it in the first position. Well, once you do that, I think, or at least the answer is pretty obvious. You have GH in the first position and the O in the middle position. The T must be in the last position, and therefore, it's ghost. Now, you could have tried it with an E and an I, but again, you would get there very quickly. So ghost was the correct answer. All right. That was my first success, and I got that one pretty quickly. After that, it took a little bit longer, and I had to work a little bit harder. Okay, now the second example was the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R. The U in the second was in the second position, so we knew that that had to be there because it's green. And then Y-E-R are in the final solution, and they can be any place. So again, you might want to stop here if you're going to play this yourself. Now, I only need one more letter. Okay, I've got 4. This should be fairly easy. And with the U in the second position, I thought, you know what, let's play around with the Q. Yeah, Q is rarely in the right answer, but we know it's there from time to time. So I put the Q and the U in the first 2 positions, and I thought about it, and I played around with the letters, and I eventually came up to the correct solution. And as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, the correct selection was query. Q-U-E-R-Y. You can also see that my writing wasn't so good. I was a little annoyed with myself, to be perfectly honest. I thought that I should have gotten it a little quicker because as a writer, query is a word that we use all the time. It's when, you know, you're trying to get work, you have a proposal, you're trying to get a book proposal. It's always referred to as a query. It's kind of the only place that I use that word a lot, but anyway, I digress again. All right. Now, before we get to the killer examples, what I would like to do is ask you that if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. And if you loved it, please subscribe. We produce new content for the channel 3 times a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays are devoted to accounts payable and payments and sometimes career and accounting issues. And we reserve Saturday for Wordle. By the way, your likes, comments signal to YouTube that they should share this video with more people. So if you'll take a moment to hit the like button, we really appreciate it. And we give you a big thank you. Okay, so let's go now to the 2 that I did not get, okay? And I kind of thought that these were interesting in that they were number 10, they were one right after the other, and they both had a W and an F in it. You know, neither of those letters are particularly common, and in both of them they gave you where the F should be, and you can see, and where it shouldn't be. So the first one was whiff, WHIFF. The only thing we know from this is that the F is in the last position, and the W, which was the orangish gold color, is not in the first position, okay? And then if that wasn't bad enough, and I say bad, the next word they gave us was wefts, WEFTS, which I don't think is a common word, but I digress again. And what we know here is that the F is in the middle position because it was green. Once again, the W is not in the first position. Now, okay, in full disclosure here, I didn't get either of these, okay? I was nowhere on these, and the correct answers here were for that first one, whiff, the answer was dwarf, and for wefts, the correct answer was awful. I'm not going to comment too much on what I think about these, but I was nowhere on them, okay? If you got them, by the way, if you stopped the video or if you played and you got them, feel free to brag about it in the comments section, but yours truly didn't get them. Okay. Now what I want to talk to is what I call the real killer. This was a clue, and it was the only one where they gave you just one option. And so the word was fjord, okay, not something I use all the time, but whatever. And what they told us was the J was in the last position. Now, not the last position, I'm sorry, the second position. And all we know about it is that the F, it doesn't have an F, O, R, or D. I was nowhere with this. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Again, if you want to try and guess, you can stop the video right now while you work on it and then come back. Now, I'm going to give you a few hints, okay? Which I always forget this, and then when I see the answer, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Okay, so the 2 hints are this. Number 1, remember, a vowel can be in the first position. I cannot tell you on fjord how long I spent trying to think of words where F was in the second position, like B, F, C, F, D. Needless to say, I wasn't coming up with a lot. Okay, remember, a vowel can be in the first position, and the only thing we know is it can't be an O. And you can remember that a letter can appear more than once in the final solution. Again, you want to stop the video and try and figure it out. Go ahead and drum roll, please. Here we come. The answer was eject. Okay. All right, no comment. Now, I learned some things from playing Extreme Wordle. First of all, I want to comment that while these were words that I all knew, the solutions were all words that I knew, to say that they were common words might have been a slight overstatement. Although I use query when I talk about my writing, if I wasn't a writer in everyday life, I'm not sure that the word query would come into my vocabulary on a very regular basis, although I certainly would know what it means. Another solution was abhor. Again, I know what it means. I wouldn't say it was a very common word. Okay, would I play Wordle again? Absolutely. I think it makes you a better player. Sometimes because we have those 6 choices, we get lazy. But absolutely, and I hope the New York Times will bring this back either as a regular feature or perhaps maybe during the week. We don't have to have 25 words. Maybe we could have 5. Okay, just a thought there. And what I also learned is that it is really possible to get the answer when you only have 2 or 3 letters. If you think about it carefully and you use your power of deduction. Occasionally, well, okay, more than occasionally, I get a little lazy when playing Wordle and don't stretch as much as I really should because, well, let's face it, I have 6 chances to guess that 5-letter word, and if I'm only on the 3rd chance, I can play around and you don't have to stretch as much. But what I learned when I was playing Extreme Wordle is that when forced, you can use your powers of deduction and come up with the right answer. And sometimes you don't need all those 6 choices, even though you do. All you need to do, or at least all I needed to do, was put my Sherlock Holmes hat on and use my powers of deduction. We did a broadcast a few months ago on Wordle and Sherlock Holmes and the powers of deduction. You should watch it now. A link will appear in the show notes below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, links will appear momentarily. As always, we greatly appreciate your thumbs up, your shares, and your subscribes, and your comments, of course, always your comments. Happy Wordling.